Hi, my name is Ricardo David Villarreal, and today I will be doing my metacognition video to do a personal reflection on myself. I like to think about this reflection as maybe a way of seeing my past self, comparing it to my actual self, seeing in what ways I have changed my way of thinking, of acting, and in general, my way of living. This personal reflection will be done with the help of the metacognition questions of sorts, which are the following. How have I learned? How have I learned it? What has been the easiest, most complicated, and most innovative learning strategy? What can I improve to learn more and in a better way? How has this process helped me learn? And finally, how can I apply the acquired knowledge in different situations? So, starting off in the personal dimension, I have learned that it's not really that difficult to maybe adapt our way of living to be more sustainable, to maybe do our practices a little greener, and to help the environment in our own way, to put our own little grain of sand in helping our world. How have I learned it? I have learned it through the practices of different commitments I made at the beginning of the semester after doing my ecological footprint, which was terrible, by the way. I think the easiest way of helping the environment in my personal life, being more sustainable, was by installing solar panels. That wasn't a lot of work since I didn't do it. I think maybe the most complicated was the water bins in the shower because of the space, because of the lack of water in Monterey, having to shower with cold water. The sacrifice of doing so every single day, and I would also consider this the most innovative because each container we have in our shower to save water, the residual water from when we can actually shower, each has 100 gallons, and we have 5 of those, so there is right now 500 gallons of water we could use in any way we can. What can I improve to learn more and in a better way? Maybe opening myself up to more ideas, more not ordinary ideas that maybe put me through some sort of sacrificing, giving up something in order to help the planet, that at first glance may not seem so inviting, but at the end doesn't really affect my way of living that much, and it helps a lot, like the water bin commitment. The process of adapting my life, my way of living, to a more sustainable way of living has helped me learn in a way that really opens up my horizons. I now know that we're so used to focusing on the little stuff, sweating the little stuff, and those little details that, if they're removed from our life, don't really matter. Finally, to apply the knowledge I acquired in different situations, I can maybe apply different innovative ways of being more sustainable, not only at home but at school, in the future at work, while playing, while gaming, while I do anything. I can now find ways of being sustainable while doing them, and now know that it doesn't really affect that much if you think about the planet. The most important thing I take from this personal change in my way of living is that if we become able to empathize, sacrifice becomes that much less difficult. Now, moving on to a professional dimension, I would like to start off mentioning that I study mechanical engineering. This involves physical and mechanical processes, that involves a lot of production, which for me is the root of all the contamination on the planet. So yeah, my career is focused on producing the thing that is destroying our planet. Maybe is a consequence of the same, but I don't like to see it that way, but I think of it that way. So yeah, in my professional dimension, I have learned that I can implement sustainable practices to be able to do my work, and not only include sustainability, but make it a goal of the same, make it a pillar and a ground point to start off my work. And this has helped me learn that it not only helps my work be better, but it helps me feel way more satisfied with my work than any other way. I think the most complicated learning strategy has been the way of doing critical thinking, but involving the disposal of my past ways of thinking, because this involves renewal of the process that I make towards thinking, towards innovating. So yeah, I think this has brought on new perspectives that I can work on for the future, and I can apply this knowledge I acquired in situations in which I have different projects, different ideas and innovations. And yeah, I through my professional career, I do commit to having sustainability, as I mentioned, as a ground factor in all my projects, in all my ideas, all my innovations. And I have a focus on helping build towards the future, not only for ourselves but for our planet as well. Now, moving on to the citizen dimension, I consider this the most difficult one to analyze, because it is really difficult to separate the citizen aspect of oneself from the personal, from the consumer aspect. But I like to consider the citizen aspect to be to the consciousness, to the being present in the events happening around us, around our society and our city. And so I have learned that there are various problems to the way our city works, our society works. I have included learning strategies that were considerably difficult, since I really hate politics and all of the like news around the world. I think they all lead to violence and conflict, so I like to avoid them. But through the learning strategies developed during the course, I was able to not only open up my mind to see those different aspects around the world, but I also studied one of the projects that I consider to be one of the most intriguing, scaring, and deep projects I've done in my entire life: the rising sea levels in Netherlands. Learning about the that maybe Netherlands could be underwater by 2050 if something is not done. That yeah, this has been really eye-opening for me. As a citizen, I think I adopted a way of contributing to society whilst attaining to sustainable principles in all my practices. The life carried in a hectic city like Monterrey makes it difficult to be incentivized to be sustainable, but the most important thing is not being ignorant and being up to date with what's happening around us, the ways we can help and the ways we can adapt the way our society, our networks work, so that we can maybe move on towards a more ecological and I consider it more efficient way of living, yeah, as a group or society. I think the one of the most difficult aspects was I learned from this citizen dimension was the organizing of different actors, the results, the ways that different aspects of a problem interact, because they not only connect with other aspects that don't seem to have anything in common, but they connect with ourselves, with different institutions, with different ideals and different goals people have. And so this makes, I think, for maybe a roadmap for people to follow, to be conscious of the situation that's going on. Yeah, this I did this through my network mapping of the previously mentioned project of the Netherlands, and yeah, I think this has this was one of the most productive things I've learned throughout the whole course. Moving on to the consumption dimension. This involves my consumption practices. These all changed, or I questioned them. I started questioning them when we saw the aspects of fast fashion, of greenwashing, of selectivism, and yeah, the different aspects that make up the fashion industry, the consuming industry in general, that maybe involve one too many lies that maybe shouldn't be there. I consider we are being deceived into buying. We are being deceived into trends that make us spend and consume in enormous amounts that we don't need to consume. Like a classmate of mine said one time in the course, why would you need so much stuff? You don't need so much stuff. And yeah, I learned about those concepts, and for the first time I made a research so thorough I didn't have a single doubt about how things worked. This was through the research of the Walmart greenwashing, their different environmental campaigns, and I got to see the real side of the sustainability they brag so much about. And yeah, this opened my eyes to a whole new perspective of the human race, towards power, towards money, with no thought, with no consideration whatsoever of the consequences that this might bring with it. Yeah, at the end of the day, no, I think there's no greater value of something material that could replace our planet. We only got one, and the enormous amounts of consumption we are making are destroying it completely. I learned this, throughout the research, throughout the investigation of the different concepts of the different cases. I think this process has helped me learn that there are many ways of analyzing a perspective of the different points of view of a situation, that maybe I won't get deceived so easily in the future. I will question more, because when it comes to a subject as delicate as this one, as crucial and as critical as this one, maybe being led to the first news, to the first idea that comes up that we learn about is not the best way of action. I will apply the knowledge in the different situations in my life, not only the consumerism, but the different aspects that involved being deceived into thinking we are making change when we are not, because I now know what change looks like, and yeah, I plan to keep on doing it. I have learned the critical situation we live in right now, the Anthropocene we're living through right now, the huge consumerism that goes on every day, that involves not only damage to the world but also to human rights. And yeah, there are so many aspects to the way our society works, not only our local, our national and international, global society works, and the different interactions that take place every day are not taking into account that the world is literally dying. So yeah, I think this is a more serious problem than anyone thinks. I think this course has really helped me open up my eyes towards this. I have become more conscious. I've become much less ignorant. I have become an agent of change. I really do consider myself able to spread the message, to become someone who makes a way for the future generations, because at the end of the day, those are the ones who would suffer from the past generations' mistakes and our negligence or ignorance towards their mistakes to not solve the problem we are in. We have to do something now. I like to see this as like What if your family was sustained by a single garden of your carrots, your potatoes, etc.? You wouldn't let that garden die by anything in the world, like anything. So why don't we think about the world and unite ourselves to save our world, our same garden, because we all share it, we all live in it, and we all gotta save it. So yeah, I think the future of the world is not looking so bright right now, but I consider myself able to maybe get more people to do the same as me. And if I could get one more person to think like I do now, I have done my work in being a successful agent of change. I consider myself as I consider I have a social responsibility to spread the message now. It's not only my responsibility to know these things, to act on them, but to let other people know they have to do something. Our world is a beautiful place, and all the parties, and all the traveling, and all the enjoying, the food, the beverages, all the fun, all the work, all the crying and laughing, all that won't be possible if we don't save the planet. So I think that is more than enough aspects to really consider what we have to do. This was my personal reflection of the course. I hope you liked it, and thank you very much.